On this episode of Star Wars Time Show, the dudes are closing out 2019 with a discussion on Team Skywalker. Yes, they are screwed up more so than ever. They'll also be rounding out the talks on The Mandalorian because the show is over. Season 1 has gone to bed. So they'll be talking about the eggs, the top moments, and speculating on what may happen in Season 2 thanks to that awesome cliffhanger. Of course, they're also going to round out their own year in Star Wars, as well as for Star Wars Time. And because it is Star Wars Time, they're going to round out with a massive look at all of the Instagram artists that use our hashtag Star Wars Time Show. Do it! Hey now, everybody! Someone fire the announcer. He is an asshole. Anyways, we are here. It's Matt and Nick. It is New Year's Eve 2019. Yes, we are that big of a Star Wars duo. We're sitting down to do the final Star Wars Time Show of the year on the last day of the year. What do you know? We're awesome like that, Nick. So we got a few things to talk about, a few things to reminisce about, so let's get right into it. Starting with, like that idiot said, Team Skywalker. We've got some little news nuggets popping up, one around Anakin that's caused a little controversy in the fandom, and another one that is a rumor pointing towards a series on the horizon for Disney+. So let's talk about our buddy, the Sand Hater.
Yes, Mr. Sand Hater, Mr. whiny, lovey boy, Anakin Skywalker. Look, you know, Anakin Skywalker is one of these characters that's always just been kind of a mystery to Star Wars fans everywhere. Like, nobody knows how he's born. George Lucas has never intended for people to know how he was conceived. But a couple of years ago, there was a comic book that came out, Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith. And then in the wrap-up of that run, Charles Soule seemingly revealed how Anakin was brought to life, that he was a creation of none other than Emperor Palpatine himself. And the way that this was revealed was through a journey that you know, Vader was taking through the world between worlds, and
which was canonized in Rebels last season. It's essentially a way for Force users to trip on the Force, so much so that they can essentially travel in between time periods.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, every other, you know, major sci-fi property has had time travel in it. So why not Star Wars? Why not give Star Wars a way to travel through time? And their way of doing it, like Matt said, was through the world between worlds. And in Rebels, like you mentioned, we saw Ezra go through the world between worlds to save Ahsoka from her battle with Darth Vader that happened a couple of seasons earlier. And, you know, in this circumstance, you know, Anakin finds out his parentage through it. And we thought, everybody who read that comic at the end of 2018 thought, like, bam, there we go. Now we know what we had always suspected, that Palpatine is Anakin's father.
It was a kind of a huge deal in the fandom, at least. And, you know, me and you being scholars, we definitely didn't go research it in full, because if I did, I'd be like, When this controversy just started a few days ago, Nick, I was like, you know what, let me actually go look into this a bit. And if you do look at how it is written, you know what you know about the world between worlds, as well as some other arcs, I believe, in Clone Wars, right? The Mortis arc where Anakin somewhat trips on the Force again, and he's having visions of this and that, and we knew it was visions, but he didn't. So the argument now, especially, who's the guy that came out and essentially like, no, listen. Matt Martin, right?
Matt Martin, yeah. He is a Lucasfilm Story Group, you know, guy. He works for Lucasfilm, and he came out and said, this was not what we intended with this comic. Anakin's father is not Emperor Palpatine. So even though this comic kind of states that is not the intended message of the comic.
Right, and then Soule just, you know, he came back. He's like, oh, yeah, no, that dude's right. You guys are all stupid. Ha, ha, ha. It's art form.
Yeah, exactly. He closed out his tweet. Charles Soule, the writer, said the dark side is not a reliable narrator. So, like,
So what do you think? I mean, I honestly, I'm not going to get all up in arms over it. I don't give a flying shit. Quite frankly, I hated the idea anyways that this would have been canon. I never liked the fact that it was Palpatine doing his voodoo shit on Shmi. This is the one thing I did like George did in the prequels, essentially making Anakin a Force Jesus, and I'm good with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was always George's intention to not have this thing, not have this origin story told, to keep Anakin's, birth and life as mysterious as possible, I guess you would say. And even though, you could say that there were hints if you watch episode 3 and there's hints towards being able to create life through the Force and everything like that. Even though that those were there, I don't feel like you needed to go ahead and establish that, oh, nope, Palpatine's his father. I do like that it's just open still. But it is kind of weird, the timing of it all.
Well, you know why, dude. I mean, I was just going to say it. Ray Palpatine ruined this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, now you could, if this was not cleared up, if people were just led to believe or they just left it be that Anakin's father is Palpatine, then there is a direct, link between Anakin and Rey. So,
dude, I was even thinking it when obviously when the reveal's made in TROS, I was like, is this shit really for real? Because now things get kind of hillbilly-ish,
Yeah, I know.
White trashy Skywalker Palpatine living in the backwoods of Tatooine,
Yeah, I mean, I think I brought it up just in our Slack chat while we were, while we were away for the holidays. I was like, hey, man, if you think about this, like Vader is, if Vader is Palpatine's son and Rey is Palpatine's granddaughter, then you have this whole, it's literally like a giant familial circle. Like, it does. It gets very fucking complicated.
It's getting weird.
Yeah. Like, I'm glad that we have moved away from it because, whether she is an ancestral Skywalker or not, we don't need to worry about that. Like, she has, Rey is who she is, and then Anakin is.
If she wants to call herself Skywalker, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Now we know she's got the royal Force blood, if you will, for all those people that had hated it. Or didn't think she could be that powerful without it. So you got that.
Yeah.
Now just let her pick her last name. Who gives a shit? But
yeah, I know.
I'm glad this is cleared up. I also understand why the comic people, like the intern, was really pissed. He's the one that sent this to me. I mean, because he's a big comic guy, and he's like, man, this is fucking bullshit. And I get like how I don't know. I mean, sometimes I like art that is left fairly open and for the viewer reader to interpret. Other times, especially when it comes to my lore, Star Wars lore in particular, I do like definitive shit, especially in this case. I mean, this is some pretty major characters within the universe, so it sucks that it's coming out 2 years later and like, oh, hey, yeah, by the way, you guys, you should have saw this, blah, blah, blah. It's been established if you're in the world between worlds, and Anakin has had Force visions before, and the dark side can fuck with you, this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, everything they say justifies the end here.
Yes.
But I guess as a fan of the comic or of that thread, I mean, just because you and I think it's dumb doesn't mean other people didn't like it. I could see where they're a little like, man, that's kind of convenient. Fuck you.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, for us, I know one thing that we said when this first dropped was like, man, this is not the place to drop Anakin's origin. Like, if you're going to reveal Anakin's parentage, his father, how he was created, like, you don't do it in a comic book. I mean, the comic books are great. And, I recently just bought the first Rise of Kylo Ren comic, and I'm going to read it soon.
You did it. Good. You did it. I did it. I'm a fucking liar. I'm such a loser.
Because I was like, all right, I'm going to be on 2 flights. I'm flying home, and then I'm flying back.
You didn't read it, though, right?
I didn't read it yet.
There you go. You failed, too. So shut up. You fucking failed, too.
I will say, by the next...
Oh, my God, we suck.
By the next Star Wars Time Show, I will have read the comic.
Yeah, your ass is itchy, you will. There's no fucking way.
I will do a short write-up on it, and we will go through, and I'll give you my opinions on it.
I don't know what it is, man. I have like an aversion to reading Star Wars. I even bought myself the TROS Visual Dictionary just to get some lore and potentially create content out of it, and I can't even fucking open the book.
You're like, man, I forgot how to read.
Yeah, it showed up. I looked at it. I was like, oh, ooh, pictures. Oh, words, fuck this. And put it right. It's like sitting on my exercise bike right now.
I do plan on getting the Tross visual because apparently there's a lot of good shit in there.
That's what I mean. I'm pretty sure the Maz Kanata reveal's in there too, but I'm too fucking stupid to find it.
But yes, I will commit now that we will have a discussion on Rise of Kylo Ren episode
the
or
level
season,
of
series 1.
ineptitude with Star Wars literature over here is ridiculous.
I know. It's so crazy because I used to read all of the novels.
I know, dude. You're like, I mean, you're telling me you're writing like fan fiction. Now you can't even fucking read a comic book that's guaranteed to be awesome.
I know, it's crazy. I don't know what happened when they rebooted canon. I was like, man, now I got to start all over again. Where do I start? Yeah. That was a kick in the nuts.
Like Luke, he cut himself off from the book force.
I did.
Speaking of Luke, moving on, we got a rumor here for the Kenobi series, right? Everyone knows we're getting a Kenobi series on Disney Plus, thank God, and it's going to be from Deborah Chow, which is even more amazing now after seeing what she did with The Mandalorian. But anyways, there's a hot rumor coming out from this guy, Daniel RPK. I've seen him on the leak circuit. Apparently, he's big enough to have himself a Patreon to fucking charge people to read his supposed leaks and whatnot. So, also the word on the street, he's hit or miss here. So who knows? I would give him way less validity than we would to MSW or someone like that. But anyways. He's claiming there's a casting call out for a young Luke for this Kenobi series. And I'm kind of like, well, yeah, no shit, but all right, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Can you consider this a leak? I mean, it is a logical thought that could be associated with the Obi series.
I figured, how could you not have a young Luke? I mean, shit, they had a young Luke in Star Wars Rebels. I mean, it just makes sense.
Yeah, like he's literally holding.
I think even as I put in the post here on StarWarsTime.net, where everyone they go there every day, Nick. StarWarsTime.net. If you're a Star Wars fan, bookmark it. But I even put in. I mean, just based on conversations you hear in A New Hope. It's established that old Ben was interacting with the Lars Homestead on occasion. It's not like Luke when he meets him there and whatever, Dune Sea or whatever, after he got knocked out. That's not the first time Luke met Kenobi.
No, of course not. Like Luke had known about him. Luke, I think, they had
call him Old Ben. I mean,
they had that's the crazy old guy who lives out.
Yeah, the hermit.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's not like this whole relationship between Luke and Ben Obi-Wan was just established in episode 4. I mean, like, it was literally this man's shot. You saw him hand the kid over to Lars and Beru or Owen and Beru at the end of episode 3. So the aunt and uncle, Luke's aunt and uncle, already knew that Obi-Wan was a Jedi. They knew that he was going to be checking in on them, and they probably established some sort of relationship with Luke and Ben at a very young age. So I mean, it's
and apparently that's what we're going to see. We're going to see from what I've read. I think there was some more information today. Apparently, Luke will be used in a way to where it's going to be Ben's first introduction to him after he dropped him off as a baby.
See, that's going to be really cool, and I know. This is going to be something like Mando was huge. People love Mando.
I mean, what a fucking home run, dude.
Yeah. But like,
holy hell.
This series, I feel like we're in an area where
the Kenobi series potential, and it's only going to be a limited run. That's the sad thing. But it could honestly blow the Mandalorian out of the pond, and look how fucking epic the Mandalorian was.
Oh yeah, I mean,
because of how closely it is tied to Skywalker.
Yeah, it's so integral to the stories that are being told after episode 3 and like leading into episode 4, that like if this show is executed properly, and it does kind of suck that we're only getting a limited run of this, but like this,
you never know, man. Money talks, and unless they get too bold with the timeline, there are many years of stories to tell for old Ben.
Exactly. Like you look with aging and de-aging technology now through digital effects, like you can use Ewan the whole way through basically. And I just think that like you do first season, but you got to bring it back. I mean, we've already seen.
I mean,
people
what's the?
cancel.
Is it a funding thing? Is it Ewan doesn't want to degrade himself by being irregular on a TV series? I don't know. But like I said, you would think if they get all the adulation that people like Pedro and Gina and all the cast of Amanda are getting, you'd think just as humans they'd be like, "Oh fuck, give me more of that. Give me more." Yes, season 2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that we're like functioning in the same media era that we were prior to, where like if you're a TV star then you couldn't be in movies. If you're a movie star you would never
I know,
do
that's
TV.
why we were making fun of our buddy Boyega, who's already snubbing Disney Plus. Like, hey, I ain't doing that shit. I'm fucking John Boyega.
I mean, look at fucking Adam Driver. Like, Adam Driver just puts out Trost, which is gonna it's already made $750 million plus in the first 2 weeks.
Dropping Golden Globe performances on Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
he's got shit on Amazon Prime. Like, he's doing direct to fucking streaming movies.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say that like, oh well, now I'm only doing big budget blockbusters because I was in Star Wars and then I was in Pacific Rim. Like, it's ridiculous. So I don't know what it is with, because from what I can remember, Ewan thought that this was initially going to be a movie. He's like,
that's legit. Kenobi was going down, and then obviously the grenades started blowing up around TLJ, and here we are.
Yeah, so maybe he was just like, all right, well, I'll do the series since it's already kind of slated, and we've already, I don't know if they basically just took the script and chopped it up, or if they kind of used the script of the movie as the basis for what the show is.
Right.
But hopefully after season 1, if there's a lot of content to be told, depending on how it ends, Ewan will come back and Disney would be willing to do another run at it. But
at this point it's 6, right? They said 6, and if they're doing Mando length, I mean,
that's not a lot.
We're looking at maybe a 3.5 hour long movie.
Yeah, which is what Tross should have been.
No shit, dude. I mean, come on, guys. There's something on Star Wars Leaks today, because I can go back on it, where Terrio is essentially expressing his frustration that they weren't allowed to make this 2 films.
Yeah, I mean, that's
but then the author's like, how we were. Well, why not just at least try a 3-hour movie at least?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the movie 4 times now. I've seen Tross 4 times.
Oh man, you got me by one. I still need my IMAX viewing. That's the one format I'm missing so far.
Yeah, it's actually kind of hard for me to find IMAX around here, because there's only 2 theaters that have IMAX screens, and
do they have like real IMAX then? Because up here, AMC, they call it IMAX, but it's not the official super duper IMAX. There is a difference, is what I'm saying.
So no, yeah, all we have is AMC, and I think there's one Regal Galaxy, it's called, that has an IMAX screen. I don't know if it's the official one though.
I mean, they're still fucking big screens, but
yeah, they're huge screens. But like, every time I've seen it, so I saw it twice alone and I saw it twice with people. Everybody that I've seen it with really enjoyed it. Like, there was a very distinct difference between the reception that the people that I saw, because I saw it with the same group of people,
right?
For TLJ and for Tross. Like, it seemed like the people I saw it with liked Tross more, and they were also like, man, I'm glad you told me that it moves fast in the beginning, because I would have been thrown off by that. Because I didn't tell.
Oh yeah, you have to warn people. You have to be like, all right, get ready. Here it comes. It is going to smack you in the face.
So, but all of them were like, man, if this movie was like 30, 35 longer, it would have been like even better. And that's what I told them. I was like, yeah, you're right. I mean, 35 minutes. If you make this Endgame length, then this movie is...
It'd been perfection, probably.
Yeah.
It probably would have been damn near Star Wars perfection. A true empire killer, probably.
Yeah, it would have been absolutely just out of the water, 100%.
My dad came out of it like... fucking he was like on cocaine almost, and he's like, "Ooh, that was awesome. That's my favorite movie." Bah. Charlie passed out right when Rey channeled the Jedi to win. I was like, "You got to be fucking kidding me."
It's like, not now, kid.
It's a long fight. She's never watched a 2-hour plus in a theater, so I think that's like the 2:10 mark, and she was tapped out. She's like, I'm fucking done. But I did record her watching the very beginning where you first introduced the Rey and Leia, and then both times you could just see her face light up. But the most for Leia, still.
Yeah.
She's like, "Is that Leia?"
Yes.
Yes.
That's the last time you'll see her, little girl.
Yeah. So I definitely need to hit one more time, maybe tomorrow if I'm not too hungover.
Yeah, I mean, I want to try one more because I need to get my girlfriend just caught up on TLJ. Once that's done, then I'll see if I can get her to go watch Tross. The good thing about it is that we have the Regal Unlimited, so we don't have to pay for the tickets. So
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I mean. So
it's great.
Damn it, Nick's up on me. I gotta go. I definitely got to get one more in this week. So, all right. Moving on from young Luke. So hopefully that happens. I didn't really think it wouldn't happen, but I guess they're trying to find an actor, which is just fun to speculate on. So
Jake Lloyd here coming back.
Yeah, I can crack that out. Jake Lloyd, is he even alive?
I don't know, dude. Last time I saw he was in prison. But
yeah, it's like a mugshot. I mean, he looks like a criminal. I mean, straight up like a criminal.
That poor kid.
Speaking of criminals, moving on to The Mandalorian, Episode 8. Go ahead, Nick. I'm dying here.
Episode 8, Redemption. So, as you know, Matt watches the episodes. He watches them. He puts together the Easter eggs and Star Wars franchise references from the show. And this week we got quite a bit. I mean, we got 13 on the list here, and they were all pretty solid from Matt's end. And I have to say that, you know, just in general for this episode for me, I loved it, and I loved what it sets up. Like, there's a lot of good shit coming in
Holy
season
shit,
2.
dude.
But
am I alive?
You're alive.
All right.
Here he is.
I might
Matt's
have to
back.
mute again. I don't know what I've got one of those things where it's just like
He's got the drip, the back of the throat drip.
Oh shit. Yeah,
But-
so
Yeah.
it was a hell of a finale. Didn't quite go where I thought in terms of the cliffhanger. But boy, what a cliffhanger. So before we get there, obviously, as Nick said, we're going to get into some of the Easter eggs. And there are some good ones in there.
Yeah, there's
Damn
a
it,
few
I'm
good
struggling.
ones.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a few good ones in here. I'm going to kind of go down the list and just rattle off some of the ones that are on here, and we might hang on some of the bigger ones or the cooler ones. So number 1, we have a trooper target practice. Duh. So yeah, people get
That scene was just great, though. The way that was scripted. I think that was Sudeikis and someone else, but
yeah, dude, I don't know who the second person was, but Jason Sudeikis nailed that, like, you know,
yeah, just how
brash idiots
brutal they are beating the little baby.
Yeah,
and then
like
just how,
punching Baby Yoda.
but the target practice was just fantastic.
Yeah. And then E-Web Cannon, so that's the thing that Moff Gideon references. He's like, oh, if you like, I love Moff Gideon's character, the intelligence.
He's great, dude. I mean, Giancarlo is a Mac Daddy, and I mean, we all knew he was from Breaking Bad, but
yeah,
he's a fantastic villain.
Yeah, and then so third up is we got some confirmations on a lot of characters, a lot of things that we've heard, maybe in leaks, maybe in rumors, stuff like that. So Cara Dune is from Alderaan. That was cool. I don't know if I'm sure they can take that places if they want to, and I'm sure that's why they did it. But that was a nice surprise. It is. I mean, that kind of links her. You can set up even more tangential links to other big characters. So that was a cool move. Mando's name is Din Djarin. That's something that, like, accidentally
we
Pedro
had that weeks ago, motherfuckers.
Yeah. Pedro said that, let that slip on a fucking TV Guide interview. Siege of Mandalore and the Night of 1,000 Tears. So that's basically the purging of the Mandalorian young. So this all came from Moff Gideon's.
Yeah, those are all nods to the animated series. I mean, we've seen it all season long, but this episode in particular, man, did they really draw strong lines right to the Clone Wars and Rebels.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, direct.
This was Taika Waititi's episode, and he fucking killed it. But you can tell that Filoni and Favreau are deeply embedded into every episode of this series. Like, they're not doing like story group shit where they just kind of like, oh well, what do you need to know? We can give you information on this. Just don't fuck this up, and then do whatever you want. Like Favreau and Filoni are really putting guardrails and guiding this series along in a strong direction.
These are like just straight up new references, but also old references to events that have happened in Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah, so I really like that whole scene with the introduction of Moff Gideon and everything like that. Mind Flayer mention to me, because I'm like a nerd that I know like Dungeons and Dragons stuff, my mind went there. But Matt caught the actual Star Wars reference, which is Bor Gullet from Rogue One.
You're very astute though. I did mention Stranger Things and D&D.
Yeah,
is where it comes from. But the Star Wars version is the Bor Gullet. Bor Gullet.
Bor Gullet will
find the truth. What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that?
That was just so funny.
Number 5 was fucking huge, dude.
Yes.
The fact that Death Watch, or at least guaranteed the Vizsla clan saved in.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
That's
fucking amazing. I mean, fucking Pre-Vizsla himself could have been there.
Yeah, I mean, it just sets up, again, with this character, the way that they're drawing these parallels, like you mentioned, to Clone Wars, to Rebels, to all of these different properties that are already established. Like, it now opens the door even wider to a ton of great lore that can be explored further in season 2. I mean, it's fantastic that Filoni and Favreau are not shying away from the things that have already been established. And this is another one where it was just like fucking knockout.
When I saw the color, because you couldn't see the guy's color at first because of how bright the background was, but when it came into focus and I saw his pauldron, I was like, hold the fuck on. This is a motherfucking Death Watch coming down and saving this dude, which may explain now why the Vizsla dude gave him such a hard time, but it could also set up events based on the fucking cliffhanger.
Yeah.
I mean, the Darksaber was from the Vizsla clan.
Yeah. I mean, the Darksaber sat with the
Vizslas. Do you say Tar Vizsla or Tear Vizsla?
I said Tear, but I could be Tar.
I don't know either. I just know it's Tarre. He's the first Mando Jedi that forged a motherfucker.
I mean, I just love the direction now. I mean, like, this is, if you watch the animated, if you haven't watched the animated series, I should say, watch them now, because there's a ton of great shit that's going to give even more context.
Mando. At this point, Nick, I feel like even for people like me, I've done 2 full watches of Clone Wars.
Yep.
I feel now I have to do a 3rd because of what Mandalorian Season 1 has done.
Yeah, I mean, at least go back and like watch the Death Watch arc, watch the Mandalore
It's mandatory at this
like
point.
That. Yeah.
I mean, you have to. They're drawing from those narratives so heavily now. You have to know that stuff if you're serious about being a super fan of The Mandalorian.
It is. It's necessary. And like, look, when Dave Filoni was put essentially as the number 2, like number 1/number 2 on this show, it was everybody's hope who had watched the animated series that he would be able to put this kind of material in there. And he made it happen. Like, he made it happen so much that he basically has made The Mandalorian a pseudo follow-up series to Clone Wars and Rebels. Like, this is like, you can almost look at this as like a sequel to those 2
fucking A, it is. It's the live action sequel. I mean, I don't think it's ever been done before.
Yeah, I mean, it's perfectly executed so far. So next up, we got Gideon is a former ISB agent, so Imperial Security.
It was just good backstory. It's like, okay, now we know how he knows all this shit. I like that. The Incinerator Trooper, he just looked fucking rad. One of my favorite troopers. Obviously, getting his helmet removed. I didn't think that happened season 1, but I'm glad it did. It was a fucking fantastic moment. And one I'm sure we'll riff on during top moments. The Jedi being mentioned. Another great just fucking idea. Like, oh, yes. We're not going to go look for little Yoda people. We're going to go find fucking Jedi.
Yeah.
Those evil sorcerers.
I loved it. Yeah, it's like sorcerers and all. The way they talked about them was clearly like nobody really know. At that point, I mean, it's been...
Well, she was talking about, dude, they canonized the Old Republic era at this point. They canonized KOTOR, the game.
Yeah. Yeah,
They did. I mean, they talked about the Mandalorian or Mandalore the Great's war with the Jedi sorcerers.
Yep, Mandalorian
That's
Wars.
exactly what it was. I mean, Revan's fucking canon.
It's
thanks
perfect,
to the Mandalorian. Just through a casual conversation too. That is the best part.
Yeah, you didn't need to go into some long explanation or bring up. It's just little things like that can now bring.
Yeah, right.
It opens the doors. It opens the doors for other information from those eras to come in.
Right there, the armor in just a few sentences is like, oh yeah, all that shit from KOTOR, that's legit. The Mandalorian Wars, that was legit. Yep, the Jedi sorcerers, they were good warriors and they kicked their ass. It's legit.
I mean, it's
just fantastic stuff.
Yeah, and then
the call back to the Mudhorn, that was great.
I like that. Lava River, that was a good catch.
Getting stretchy there.
Yeah, but
those ones, it's like, hey, you got to, right? I mean, why not?
It works. It works.
The mecha art too is like, and it has become kind of iconic because I'm seeing memes of it now, and but I just like I know I've seen this before, and there are if you search mecha art too, there are very similar fan arts from years ago that look like that. The Skiff Master.
Wow, I never knew that was like in the fan art kind of zeitgeist.
Yeah, I mean, there's like R2 as Hulkbuster. I mean, there's all sorts of Arnold D2 Schwarzeneggers out there.
All right, yeah, that's pretty. I like seeing that too because it's like you look at it and you're like, oh, it's just an R2 unit. How is this how is this gonna row them down the fucking thing? And
yeah, that's so cool. Just fucking, just all the little production value bits too of this show. My God, and then obviously, dude, the Darksaber. So let's not get there yet. Let's do what we do and just kind of now reboot, go back to the top of the episode and just kind of go through some of our top moments just to recount them and maybe speculate on some things that we were thinking when we saw them. So we talked about this one a little bit, but that opening scene with the scout troopers could be the greatest stormtrooper scene in all of Star Wars, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is the only, outside of a few scenes in other movies where,
Never really. I mean, in the movies at least.
In A&H, like in A New Hope, you had the one scene with Ben and he's sitting there and then they're talking, but that was it. I mean, other than that, you didn't really have too much. But yeah, this is like top stormtrooper moments of all time.
It almost makes them feel weird because you're like, wait, these things shouldn't be talking. They're almost robotic.
Yeah.
So I think that was the genius of the way, I don't know if Taika wrote it or the way he directed it, but there was Taika all over that scene.
Oh yeah, dude. Like Taika Waititi definitely has like a signature style of directing and writing and, injecting humor into his material. If you've seen Thor Ragnarok, obviously, if you've seen What We Do in the Shadows, whether it's the TV show or the movie, he's fantastic at this kind of dialogue. And that was it. Just like it, I think it serves.
I mean, he made a scene about dudes beating a baby funny, and that's his sense of humor. I mean, go see Jojo Rabbit to see Taika perfected. He makes a movie about Hitler and Nazism funny, even though it's a horrible, horrible subject matter.
Yeah.
But that's how he rolls, and that's what he was doing in this scene. I mean, they were beating a baby.
It's so fucked, but it was also so funny. Like, it was so funny, dude. And not ever would I think, oh, man, somebody's going to punch Baby Yoda and it's going to be funny. But it was. Like, he pulled that off. He pulled that off.
You're fucking demented. No, it really was funny. All right, from there, another one. Obviously, we talked about bits of it, but the full flashback was finally revealed. And I just want to say, Nick, that is how you reveal a season-long story arc, just like that.
Yeah,
you got some quick shots early on, like episode 1 and 3, and then it was taken away. And then bam, before the season's over, you get the whole picture painted. And I loved how they rolled it out that way, and it wasn't every episode it's like, oh, it's flashback time. No.
Yeah.
They came in important parts.
Yeah.
And I loved how this one finally got paid off in full. And we all knew it was going to be Mandalorian saving them, but my God, the fact that it was Death Watch, if anything, the Clan Vizsla that saved them, that just, as we've said, going through the eggs, it opens up so many new avenues of storytelling.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this is going to allow the show to thrive even more in season 2. I mean, you could have had a solid season 2 without setting that up with, just leaving him as like, him and the child, and then, Kara and Grief, and they just have to make their way. That could have been a good season 2. But then when you throw in this whole new curveball, it opens up your world even wider. So it was a fantastic idea by Filoni to add this in.
Yeah, it was amazing. So I can't wait to see where it goes, and I know it's going to play into the Darksaber, which we're going to get to.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Okay. IG-11's save and then subsequent fucking spear bike raid into town.
Dude,
like, what? What?
It was so good. Because you knew that IG-11 was now essentially he calls himself a nurse droid.
Yeah.
But then also you didn't, when you find that out, you're like, oh, I guess he just doesn't have any combat programming anymore. He's like, no, if his charge is in danger, he's going to kill everybody around it. So,
I mean, first off, he literally breaks the scout troopers in half. I mean, just bludgeons them down melee style. And then when he gets on the bike and straps the little guy to his chest, I mean, first off, the faces little baby Yoda was making during this carnage was just fantastic.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I mean, his nurse droid is literally murdering platoons of scout troopers and stormtroopers, and the little guy's just sitting there like he's on a roller coaster ride.
Just laughing. I saw that and it reminded me of something, but I could not fucking remember what it was. Like, there was a scene in something that was like that's like, a ride and there's a kid on it, but I can't remember what it was. But it was really good.
I mean, the arc of IG-11 in this season was just awesome. We had that awesome introduction in episode 1, the reintroduction in 7, where we learned that he was remade.
Yep.
It was, touching with the Kuil stuff, and then all the stuff he did in this episode. I mean, fantastic character. Just another fantastic character from The Mandalorian. Just season 1, my friends. Just season 1.
Beautiful.
Another one, obviously the armorer and her signet moment, but just the way she explained the mission, and we got more of the Mandalorian culture, as well as learning that it is a creed. That is not it doesn't matter where you're born. Anyone can be Mandalorian.
It's a creed. Yes.
Right, but I loved how she set up the mission, essentially saying, like, listen, he is a foundling now.
Yep.
He's too weak to be trained. Therefore, you're his fucking daddy until you find his own kind that can train him.
Yeah, like she basically told him,
Go find Jedi.
Yeah, this is what you have to do. This is the way. And I mean that, and then also like the follow-up scene with the armor just fucking wrecking all of those stormtroopers with just a hammer and her clamps.
Yeah, I'm glad that she didn't go out in the blaze of glory. I'm glad they showed that this lady, this is why she's the leader.
Yeah.
But she'll be back. I mean, there's no doubt the armor's back. I mean, and I, giving him I'm getting ahead of myself here, but obviously the jetpack. Would you call it Rising Phoenix?
Rising Phoenix, yes, the Rising Phoenix jetpack. I mean, and I love how she said, like, you don't know how to use it yet, but, you'll
She essentially said it'll speak to you or become one with you almost. Yeah. It's almost like the Mandalorians have a force connection to their weaponry and armor.
Yeah, it is. It's like a deep-seated connection to their,
he did say that it was part of his religion, right? When he was fucking with the Jawas in episode 2, so.
Yeah, Beskar, they're like, no, he's like, you can't have the Beskar. It is a part of my religion, my creed, my being, like, you can't have it. So, I thought that was really cool.
That helmet moment obviously was big. Helmet. Like how they kind of worked around the Mandalorian creed there by.
Yeah, I'm not a living thing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But like I said about IG-11 though, what an arc for that character. Starts out as a baby murderer, reprogrammed into a baby protector, and then ultimately became the protector of all of his friends.
Yeah,
that he made in season 1. I mean, it was a fantastic moment, and we finally got to see him pop off his thermal detonator.
Yeah, it's funny too because if you go back and listen to our episode 1 breakdown, we're like, oh man, well, I guess this is the end of IG-11. Like he just gets wasted in the first episode, but he was used to good effect, and then
that's why we're not writers on The Mandalorian, Nick. You and I, we'd be like, well, fuck, we just killed another major character. I guess he's gone forever.
Yeah, we forget that you
gotta
can
move
write
on.
things back to life.
Yeah,
so, especially in Star Wars. So yeah, I mean, like we have been saying, his arc was fantastic.
It was great. It was really good. I mean, it was a very touching end. Now, getting closer to the end, you had to love the Mando jetpack fight. I mean, we knew it was coming from a trailer, but watching it play out and how he essentially just sat there and played chicken with Gideon.
Yeah.
And then, strapped himself on there and then eventually got some charges onto a wing. But my God, are these two going to be fun to watch duel each other?
Yeah, I like Gideon is the perfect foil to the Mandalorian because of how intelligent he is. Like you can tell the way that they set up that character in the beginning with the speech and all the information that he provided about all 3 of them, actually 4 of them.
Yeah, he knew about grief too.
He knew about grief.
His ISB connections definitely are paying off for this new type of warlord role.
Yeah, and it seems like he's going to have a lot of, materials, a lot of resources at his, ready. So he's not going to be hurting, even though his TIE fighter went down, and even though he just lost a cadre of troops. Like he is still.
I mean, you heard the guys at the beginning. They're essentially they were afraid to go into town because of how crazy Gideon is.
Yeah, he's like
the guys are on the radio, like, oh yeah, he just killed somebody for dropping something.
Yeah,
just killed some more people.
Just killed a whole squad of his one's troops. I mean,
yeah. No one's like, what does he want with it? Is he going to eat it? Is like, yeah.
Yeah.
So Gideon's definitely he rules with an iron fist, and the galaxy, at least in the near vicinity, knows about it as well as the Imperial remnants. So
yeah, and then when you see him cut through.
Before we get there, just I loved how we got a shot of him flying away with Baby Yoda, and it was an exact mirroring of him getting flown off with Death Watch.
Yeah, the way
it was just a cool moment that was a direct visual callback to that scene. But yeah, let's get into it. The fucking dude, the Darksaber reveal. I mean, it pokes through, and I'm like, at first I was like, yeah, he's gonna fucking cut himself out and probably shoot these Jawas and just be pissed. But then when you actually see that glowing white dark blade come through, I just went, "Oh my God, wow. They're going this way."
Yeah. And like cuz I didn't watch the episode the day it dropped cuz I was still home and they don't have Disney Plus at home and I didn't want to watch it on my TV. I mean on my phone. So I waited until I got home and at that point somebody had already leaked it. Like I saw the Darksaber was in the episode, but I didn't know how it came up. Like I didn't know where it was. I didn't know if it was the Mando who had it or if it was somebody else. So when I saw it at the end, I was like, holy shit, he's got it. Like Gideon has the Darksaber, which leads directly into what he was talking about earlier, the Night of 1,000 Tears and the sacking of all the Mandalorian children. I mean, like he basically has shown himself as the slayer of Mandalorians by holding that blade, and that is going to put. Once Mando finds out he's got that, like the fury with which he is going to go at him is going to be unmatched. Like it's
I mean, Gideon essentially, now that he has that blade, we can infer one of two things: he either stole it from Bo-Katan or killed her and took it. And as Nick said, that would more or less make him the conqueror of Mandalore, because Rebels, I think a lot of us forget, and I do sometimes too. Yeah, clearly it ends. It shows us that they win and they join the rebellion. But I believe Rebels proper still ends before the Battle of Yavin, correct?
Yeah, that's...
So at that point, Mandalore was still occupied. They were still trying to fight back the Imperials. The Imperials had the weapon that Sabine invented that essentially zapped people. And what we can infer now is that Gideon was one of the main people that helped the Empire essentially nearly eradicate the Mandalorian people on Mandalore itself.
Yeah, like the actual race of Mandalorians, not the credo. But
Right.
the,
He's the reason we can infer now that he's one of the main reasons why they are living in sewers scattered across the galaxy. So yes, I mean he is the big bad. He is the Darth Vader at this point of the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
It's dead on. But really what this opens up, Nick, and this can kind of lead into our next discussion. I mean, Favreau's confirmed the show's coming back fall 2020, so just like any normal TV show, it's going to get about a year to cycle out the new stuff, which is great. But he also more or less said, like, listen, you're going to start seeing more familiar Star Wars characters now, Skywalker Saga type of characters. And we know what Filoni and John did in Season 1 with the animated stuff. Darksaber is purely from animated.
Yeah, that is all animated series.
So I mean, dude, they could bring Maul into the series through flashbacks.
Yeah, I mean,
because at one point in time, Maul was in possession of the Darksaber for a long time. I mean, up until the era of the rebellion, because he's the one that took it from Clan Vizsla, pre-Vizsla himself. He fucking killed him and earned it and took over Mandalore.
I mean, there's so many of these animated characters.
I mean, Sabine
was
found
one
it.
that we were, like we wanted.
She's
to
the one
see
that gave it to
Sabine in here.
Bo-Katan. I mean, I guess there was some weird tweets by Ray Park and Sam Witwer that people are like, "Holy shit, Maul's going to be a Mandalorian, like live action Maul's coming back." And at first, I'm going, that doesn't work timeline wise, but it would flashback wise if they care to, I guess, at least explain to just the Mandalorian watchers how important the Darksaber is and the history behind it.
Exactly. Because I mean, for us, yeah, it's easy for us to tell people listening to this, go watch the animated series. It's all on Disney Plus. Both Rebels and Clone Wars is on there, so you can catch kind of the whole arc of it. But there's like, the fact is people aren't going to watch it. So they see this thing, they have no fucking clue what it is. Like, your casual Mandalorian fan is not going to look up.
There's going to be there's a need for exposition in the show itself to kind of set this blade up a bit for people, for just the Mandalorian crowd. Like I said,
you could almost do this, like, if you wanted to kind of get it done in one shot, like get your whole lore around the Darksaber out in one shot. You do it like Lord of the Rings style, like opening of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, like a 5-minute sequence, like
where they explain
Tar Vizsla, balalu, pre blah blah, Darth Maul blah blah, Sabine blah blah, Bo-Katan blah blah, Gideon.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that whole spiel, and then everybody's caught up immediately, or you can lay it out like you did the flashbacks for the Mandalorian's origin, like, you know, how did he become a Mando? You spread them throughout the series. I mean, I think we got the tease of Maul and Solo, and it was a shame that we're not actually going to get that anymore. So to bring him back in, I don't care if it's in flashbacks, I don't care if it's in, you know, whatever way you have to do it in The Mandalorian, like bringing this character back, especially with this plot line now being central to the story of The Mandalorian, it's almost necessary. Like, you have to bring this guy back in because Maul was such an integral character to
the history of Mandalore. I mean, he is a major part in it. I mean, he helps to destroy it, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, it's fantastic. And then, like, because of his actions, that's when, like, Death Watch reincorporates himself back into the Mandalorian way, and that's how they take out Maul, and that's how
that's why Bo essentially comes back and and teams up with her sister's side. Yeah,
they were like, look, you know, we need, because Death Watch was like a rogue faction of Mandalorians. Like they
wanted to, from what I believe, they wanted to remain to the hardcore warrior culture of Mandalore.
Yeah, and it was shifting away from it. Like in the Clone Wars TV series, you could see that a lot of it wasn't a warrior culture anymore. Essentially, like it was a pretty standard style of society. You had farmers, you had all different walks of life within the Mandalorian way.
They thought Satine was too, I don't know, like weak. You know, she wanted to play in galactic politics too much, but they were the radicals. So I mean, that's what I mean. It's so interesting that Death Watch, its ties to the Vizsla clan, Vizsla's clan's ties to the Darksaber.
Yeah.
Din Djarin's ties to the Vizsla clan
Vizsla
now.
clan
I mean,
now,
what does that mean with the Darksaber and Gideon? It's like, man, Jesus, these guys know, and gals know what they're doing on the Mandalorian. I mean, that's, that is safe to say at this point in time. So, what hell of a first season, man. I don't think there's a single legitimate complaint you can make outside of I just wish they were longer and we had more.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if they plan on editing the length, like making it slightly longer, 40, 45 for season 2. But yeah, I mean, I can't say that there was anything I didn't like about the series. I loved The Mandalorian. I wish there were more episodes. I wish there was more time in each episode. But other than that, I mean, this thing was an absolute phenomenon for the first live action Star Wars television.
It's something Star Wars needed. It's sad that we even have to say that because of all the nuts out there and this, that, and the other thing. But the fandom needed this type of injection. I'm glad it happened. I think they can definitely build some positive things from here. But don't worry, people will still try to tear it down because we're Star Wars fans after all.
Yeah, I mean,
and speaking of being Star Wars fans,
self-flagellating bunch. So.
Yeah. We're just nailing the segues today, Nick. We wanted to, since it is our last podcast, our last show of 2019, who knows when you'll actually be getting it. At one point in time, I was like, I'm just going to get it out right away. And I was like, who the fuck cares? So it'll be out sometime and you'll listen to it. But Nick and I just wanted to go over some of our top Star Wars moments of the year. Things that as fans we love, but also maybe things that happen in our own personal lives as Star Wars fans that we love. So we share quite a few of them. So I'm going to go ahead and let Nick kick off the countdown here.
Yeah. So a lot of mine are, personal, a lot of, based off of things that I like or things that I did. So attending my first ever Star Wars celebration this year with Matt in tow and, our girlfriends and our families there. Ryan, the intern there. I mean, it was an incredible experience from the day I got there to the day we left. I mean, just hanging out with you guys, getting to go to the convention. You guys were able to sit down and watch the TROS reveal. We were all able to sit in on the Mandalorian press conference. I mean, just the experience itself was fantastic. Even, me getting a Mandalorian tattoo, like the Mythosaur tattoo at the convention was another fantastic experience. All around, my time at Star Wars Celebration was top notch. I loved it. I loved hanging out with you guys. I loved doing everything there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that was on my list as well. No, we did not collaborate here. There is no collusion on this list, but I had Star Wars Celebration TROS presser attendance. I've been to multiple celebrations, but I've not attended one of the major panels really since Celebration 2 when they were still kind of low key but not low key. So getting into the TROS presser, that was some magic. I mean, I've always wanted to do something like that for one of the Skywalker films. The fact that we got the lottery and got to sit in there, my kid was with me even though she passed out before the trailer aired. But really it was watching the first trailer for what became known as The Rise of Skywalker live with all those other fans and just feeling the Force energy in that arena. That's something I hope to never forget. And we have it immortalized on our YouTube channel as kind of a reaction to the trail, like a live reaction from the arena. So that was huge. I'm just going to follow that up with another one because it ties into it. At Star Wars Celebration, I was officially featured as a toy photographer at the Hasbro booth for the Black Series line, in particular doing a series of shots depicting Luke Skywalker in the original trilogy. And they also got used again at SDCC 2019, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I mean, all right, so let's see. My next up here, I mean, this is just Star Wars kind of fandom in general, but it's also, a personal one. The Rise of Skywalker. Like I said, I've seen The Rise of Skywalker 4 times already. I really, really love this movie. Is it a perfect Star Wars movie? It is not a perfect Star Wars movie. I think you can argue that the perfect Star Wars movie does not exist, nor will it ever exist. But this movie, to me, no matter what other people think about it, I think that this was a fantastic ending to the 9 movies that we know as the Skywalker saga. I mean, I could go see this movie every day and I would never get tired of it. I plan on seeing it for a 5th time. I just really love this movie. I just really love it. So that's my third.
I mean, I had that too, so I'll just make a few more comments on it. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I still hate what I did to myself, at least for my initial viewing, by reading the leaks. That is a life lesson that will sting for the rest of my fandom. There's no doubt about it, because the film really is fun. It's fun as fuck. And for me, it gets more fun every time you see it. I just wish I would have had that magical experience watching it the first time, not knowing what was coming at me, because it definitely sucked a lot of the mysticism and wonder out of some of the bigger reveals. But as I've seen it more and more, I am realizing there are scenes in there that hit me with Star Wars emotion. That's all I can ask for in a Star Wars movie. So, not perfect, as Nick said. I'd still argue it's a joke that it's not at least 3 hours, especially with how chaotic the first 45 minutes are.
Yes.
But it is what it is. We got it. It's on its way to $1 billion. I know people are trying to tear it down because it's failing in China. Who gives a fuck?
Every Star Wars. Look, here's the fact.
Well, they're like, oh, this movie did better. That movie did better. It's like, who cares?
I mean, dude, China doesn't like Star Wars, and yes, some will do better.
They're like, oh, IP Man 4 did better. It's like, no fucking shit.
Yeah, you're telling me
IP Man doesn't even get on a screen in the U.S., motherfuckers. What are you talking about?
Like, it's not even
dumb assholes.
Yeah, it's like, look, I said this a long time ago. I said this when Endgame broke every box office record that ever existed. I was like, Star Wars can never do that because China doesn't like it. Yeah. Like, China doesn't like Star Wars. China loves Marvel, crazy, and that's because China and like Marvel blows China. Like, Marvel puts
they
for
put
China
in the characters. They go to China all the time. I mean, you can thank a lot of the Iron Man movies for that. And, and Avengers 2 was specifically for the China audience.
Yeah, and like, look, Star Wars, the proper Star Wars Skywalker saga will never be that. Like, it's over, and it'll never hit that Chinese level. Like, it'll never hit that Chinese fan base. Now, who knows? When we get Rise of Skywalker going again, or when we get Star Wars going again in 2022, maybe China kind of attaches itself to it because it was there from the beginning. But I just don't see. It's just not that type of movie. Like, it's not a movie.
And it's fine. I'm also not a fan that's going to base my enjoyment of a film on
the
foreign box office or box office in general. I don't give a shit. Yeah. I like Solo. It made $2. I mean, who cares?
Yeah. I mean,
it's just. I mean, it's like, no one's allowed to be happy anymore in Star Wars land. You even have TLJ fans now becoming trolls themselves.
Yeah, they're like
to people with TROS, like, oh, you like it? It's not as artsy as TLJ. It's a goddamn crime what you did to Kelly Marie Tran. Like, oh man, it's just it's perpetual drama now. It doesn't matter.
Like they will find something to hate about it.
Doesn't
no matter
matter.
What it is. It's like
I said, even the TLJ people now they're haters now. It's like, fuck.
It's like, it's a shame, but I love TROS. I will watch TROS multiple times, and that is a personal thing for me.
Well, I saw someone tweet this. I mean, think about it. Because of what all you assholes did, and you made Disney feel bad about themselves, and they deserve it too. I mean, Bob Iger's a douche. But you're not going to see a Star Wars movie in a theater for 3 years, so you might as well go see TROS as many times as you can.
Yeah, get your viewings in now because there's not a guarantee that we even get a Star Wars movie in 2022.
I can almost promise within a year or two there's going to be people like, oh, man, I really remember those days when we got Star Wars every year. Those were great times. And it'll be the same people now like, oh, maybe Star Wars should just take a break. Fuck off, people. All right, I didn't want to get angry during our 2019 retrospective. So I'm gonna talk about my next item, and no one can get angry about this, and this is the arrival of Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian. I mean, they kind of go hand in hand with episode 1. The show is great, and then you get that Baby Yoda, and here we go. off to the races. There is a new darling of the internet.
I mean, it's just Baby Yoda hit the world like nothing I've ever seen before. Like when that reveal happened at the end of episode 1, everybody saw that and it was over. Like people forgot for at least a moment the bullshit that was in the Star Wars fandom, the bullshit that's been going on for a while.
You think Mando is as popular as it is today without Baby Yoda? Does the show stand on its own without the baby?
Does the show stand on its own without the baby? Yes. If there was another, if Baby Yoda wasn't...
Like, let's just say he was protecting just a standard little kid that was going to turn into a badass Mandalorian.
Yeah. The show would still be as good, yes.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
But the show would not be the phenomenon that it is.
Exactly, right.
Like, people... like I've said this before, my girlfriend hasn't watched a single episode of The Mandalorian, and she's like, she knows Baby Yoda.
Yeah, he's like an internet god of sorts.
Yeah, Baby Yoda memes everywhere. Like my friend today, we went to a gift exchange yesterday at my friend's house. One of my friends had a Baby Yoda ugly Christmas sweater or ugly Christmas T-shirt. I mean, Baby Yoda is everywhere, and it's just one of those things that, like, when you have that cultural spark like that, it's hard to quantify what that does to a show. I know. It's like, so maybe, yes, the quality of the show would still be good. It would have a fraction of the viewers. And like, I mean, all credit to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni for cooking that up, because that in itself, that The Mandalorian and Baby Yoda have proven that you don't need a big screen to make good Star Wars. Yeah. Like you can do it on the small screen to make good live action Star Wars, I should say, because we know from the animated series you can do it good. But you don't need a big screen for good live action Star Wars. And now we're going to get, I mean, kind of going into one of your other points, I mean, we're going to get more live action Star Wars on Disney Plus. So fucking love it.
Oh, you want me to do another point? I've kind of taken a couple turns, so I was going to let you go.
I'll go. So my next one, we already hit on Mando. My next one's actually Jedi Fallen Order, and I just finished the game yesterday, and I really, after kind of getting used to the combat system, that was kind of Matt and I, weren't really loving it at first, but like, after I played through like two and a half planets and I got my bearings with the combat system, I really did enjoy the game. I mean, it's a game that allows you to become the Jedi and like to really tune those force powers up to 11. Like, for example, I was playing through
you just
and
have a really, really heavy lightsaber.
Yeah, I know. He just cannot swing that lightsaber quickly
that hilt
to save his life.
Weighs a fucking ton.
Yeah, maybe in the next iteration of this game, in the sequel, we'll get, Cal Kestis picks up a lighter lightsaber or something like that. He builds his own, he builds his own at the end. But maybe he could swing it a little faster. But I will say that, like, once you unlock a lot of the force powers that are in this game, you do feel like a powerful motherfucker. Like, the first time I went to Dathomir, I didn't have force pull, and I'm fighting these fucking Night Brothers, and I'm getting my ass kicked. I'm like, what the fuck? When I got force pull and I could just pull them in and then one-shot them by stabbing them, like, okay, now things are picking up. When I finally got that huge force blast push, and I could knock down a whole fucking group of people, or I could, like, push a whole group of people off of a cliff, I was like, now I feel like a Jedi. Now I feel like Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, I feel like a bad motherfucker. And the game, it got progressively better as I played it. And even
overall, how'd the story jive with you? Where it wrapped up? Did you like the story? Do you like Cal more? Because we both kind of thought he was milquetoasty.
Yeah, I mean, I still ride with the fact that this is at least the first game. I mean, both Matt and I are assuming they're going to be...
Spoiler alert, not that it should matter. I mean, honestly, people, are you really Star Wars fans?
Yeah, finish the game.
But, I mean, it ends with, okay, there's going to be a next game.
Yeah, it's basically like, all right, like,
All the good guys are there. The same squad's there. I mean, you just continue on.
Cal almost literally says, "See you in the next game." Like the way that it ends was very, very clear. That
I don't know why I didn't have Jedi Fallen Order on my list. I mean, you would think I would because it is a really good Star Wars game. I don't know. I just ultimately the combat was just dumb.
Yeah, I feel like that's what killed it for you. It's like,
and I did not find the story as engrossing as The Force Unleashed for some reason.
I think that I recognized very quickly in that show that this was gonna be a plot driven. Like, Cal Kestis didn't really matter as a character. Like, let's just be real. You could have put anybody in that position, and it didn't matter. So I was like, okay, I need to focus on the story, the plot itself, and not the character, because the character is give or take. It doesn't matter who it is.
You're spot on, and maybe that's why I didn't like it, because Force Unleashed was more about learning about who the character was.
Yeah, and
versus the state of the galaxy at a particular time.
Yeah, and I think most Star Wars is like that. I mean, if you look at almost all Star Wars content that we've ever gotten outside of like KOTOR, it's all character driven narrative. Like, even KOTOR, to a point, like, you're learning who you are and all of this, and at the end you get the big reveal that you're Revan. Like, it's all character driven stories that we're dealing with. Jedi Fallen Order being a plot driven story where, like, the person you are doesn't necessarily matter as much as the place you are, or the time that you're in, or the events happening.
You're right. I don't know. Maybe I guess I just like character stuff.
Yeah.
I'm learning so it's like I'm going to school today. I'm back in English class with Jedi Master Nick.
Narrative types and how they affect your storytelling.
What the fuck's going on here? I'm like, where am I right now?
But no, I really did like the game. I'm looking forward to the follow-up. And I do, if there is one thing that I hope they improve, is the fluidity of the lightsaber combat, because that was where I feel like it really lacked. Is unless you were using, and like, this is one thing that I figured out, is like, the fluidity doesn't come until later in the game, and it doesn't come until you unlock certain abilities. So like, when you finally unlock the ability to use two sabers, like, you can build combos where you're like switching between. Yeah,
it gets a little better, but that's damn near towards the end of the fucking game.
It's way too late. So one thing I hope they don't do in the next one is make you fucking relearn everything, because that happens in a lot of games where it's like,
stupid.
I became
he has amnesia again. Fuck.
Yeah. So now he needs to relearn all of his Jedi powers. I should start the second iteration, or the second game in the JFO series, with all the shit that I already knew from the first one. So I should be able to fucking pull somebody to me and throw them off a cliff. I should be able to do all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, essentially a maxed force or power wheel at the end of the first game should be your default starting point of the second game.
Yeah, exactly. So I really enjoyed that. So JFO is up there for me.
I got an itch to play some fucking Battlefront.
I know, right?
Why. I just do. I still haven't booted it up since they've added in, moron mode.
I'm pretty sure
that mode's perfect for me.
I have to check, but I'm pretty sure I have Battlefront 2
because all the Tross content came down, I think, on the 17th. So, anyways, that's not on my list. I'm just thinking out loud. I do it sometimes. Okay, so a few final things for me. I'll kind of lump these two in together, but Kenobi was confirmed. I mean, there's essentially been rumors for years, and we did learn they were all true. There was going to be a Kenobi movie. Got canned because of assholes on both sides, the fan side and the Disney side. But hey, we're getting a show, and kind of the lump in here is the fact that it's going to be worked on by Deborah Chow, and Filoni's probably going to have some notes and stuff.
Yep.
So really, the two for there is Kenobi confirmed. Cho is the one running it, and just the fact that we got to see her and Filoni grow as live-action directors right before our eyes on the first season of Mandalorian, I think everyone feels amazing now that these are the people that are telling these Star Wars stories on the small screen.
Yeah, if you followed along with who was directing each episode, like, I mean, first off, everybody who directed on Mandalorian did an absolutely excellent job. But like the standout episodes that you picked out, those were probably Deborah Chow's episodes.
Yeah,
Chow,
I
Chow.
believe just from, I sit around the internet machine quite a bit and scan and surf, and I've had many years of practice. And I'm just pulling out my ass, but I think I'm spot on. I believe episode 3 and 7 were the most buzzed about episodes.
Yeah,
with 3 probably being the most buzzed about.
Yeah, 3. I mean, 3 that basically the culmination of the first arc of the show. I mean, that was fucking crazy. So I mean, Deborah Chow really fucking killed it with that. So yeah, I
mean, if you had what was your favorite, just right now, top of your head, favorite episode?
7, because the tension building in that episode towards the end was just like, you're sitting on the edge of the seat, you're like fucking biting your fingernails, you're like, oh my god, is he gonna make it? Like, is Baby Yoda gonna die? Like, what the fuck's gonna happen? Like,
I know. I agree with you 100% just on the tension, but I may go with the first.
3 or 1?
1,
the first
Filoni's
one?
debut.
Yeah.
The one that set the stage, the way it started, and then obviously the smack in the face, the way it ended. I mean, that Baby Yoda reveal changed everything anyone was thinking about what the show was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, tonally, episode 1 set the stage for the show, and then I mean, that reveal really was the world igniter. Like, people,
even just him and IG teaming up and their fight, I really loved every aspect of the episode and felt as a premiere or a pilot, it did a great job at saying, this is who the Mando is, this is what he does, this is the world he lives in, and this is the type of person he is.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, great. It was all perfect.
I can get down with that. I agree.
But really, I mean, dude, it's hard to cast any. I mean, you could make arguments. Even episode 2, I think it was the shortest. It was fantastic. I mean, there's some awesome moments in that with the Jawas, and then that's the first time we see the baby use the Force. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Every episode kind of stood out. I mean, and then 8, the finale of season 1. My God, the IG-11 moments, the sacrifice. So, hey, Disney Plus is a success, and I really think that's because of people like Filoni and Chow in particular. So I'm glad she's in charge of Kenobi, and that Kenobi is a thing. So bring it on.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so next up for me is, I put the launch of SWT proper in the growth of our fan base. So I know that we launched technically at the end of November 2018, but like,
this is our first full year as the dudes,
as the Star Wars Time Bros, the Star Wars Time Show. And I mean, the things that have come over this year from what we've done with Star Wars Time and the people that we've met and the friends that we've made and the fans that we've made, it's fantastic. I mean, like, I opened up my mailbox yesterday and I have an awesome Christmas card from Sir Dork.
Oh yeah. We made the Sir Dork and Chaos Cuties Christmas card list.
I mean, and that was fantastic. The message that he wrote on the back was awesome.
Note and everything.
I mean, and then I know that we have something coming in from Jesse, Everything Kylo as well. I mean, like, the people that are fans of our show, the people that are associated with our show. I mean, I never would have guessed that in the first year of us having Star Wars Time as a solo thing, that we would have grown as much as we have, and that we would have
I'm just some numbers up top of my head. I mean, obviously the biggest community is on the IG side. That's where we spend most of our time, but we're like 2,500 there. The tag's been used almost 10,000 times. I don't know about mentions, but the likes are picking up. I think Nick told me we had our first 1,000-pluser.
Yeah, I mean, one of these shots that we shared, actually one of the shots that's in the top 5 from last week that I will mention.
He's in the Shafted 5. That's what we're calling it.
Yeah, the Shafted top 5, the holiday top 5 had over.
Okay, I'm muting out real quick.
Matt's dying, but I will let you know that we had a shot that I believe either crossed or came right to the 1,000 like mark. I mean, that is absurd. There was no way that I ever thought that we would have a post that we shared that would have 1,000 likes within the first year. I mean, it's just incredible to see how you guys have gravitated towards this show and to our
even
Instagram
YouTube and
like that.
I mean, I think since Resistance and Mando have come back, we've added maybe 80 new subs on YouTube.
Yeah.
Getting better comment, better interactions. The show itself, I mean, I think the best month we did was around, and we never know official stats. We get shit knick-knacky from here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
But I think over the summer we hit over 600 downloads, just unique downloads. So that was.
Oh yeah. And then by the end of the year, I think we shared some content from Blurberry and from Spotify and from all the different channels that we're on. I mean, like the growth that we've seen has been.
Germany
really
loves
impressive.
us.
Germany
Spotify.
loves us. Australia is gonna get up there.
Yeah,
if Greg has
Greg's
anything
got
to
his
do
whole
about
damn
it.
family rigged now on Spotify. He sent like his younger, I think his nephew. He has a YouTube channel for Funko Pop and stuff. So, but he's like, yeah, I've got him listening on Spotify now too to bump up those numbers. So
there we go. Those are
we
rookie
do appreciate it, man.
numbers.
There's some fans out there. You know who you are. The ones that interact on, a weekly, daily basis sometimes. We appreciate it. I know it sounds like I'm dying. I've got something stuck in my throat, and no, it is not a penis. Because I know
it's
some
emotion.
of you
Star Wars emotion.
Yeah, you sick fuckers there out there in Star Wars time land. But anyways, I'll kind of
your last one. Here we go.
Pop into my last one here, and this is a very recent one. But my kid, I've talked about her on the show before. I mean, I'm not gonna say I forced her to be a fan, but just living in the house and all the children's book people bought for her, I mean, it was bound to happen. I'm glad it did. It's been a fun 2 years now. I mean, she's a little over 3.5, and we went and saw the movie. She passed out. That's what I mentioned. But it was funny this year. The Santa thing really became a big deal, and we were out and about at the Lego store, and she saw this set. It was a huge Star Wars set. And I could just see like the lights and the bells were going off in her little head. And she's like, pulls me over. She's like, Daddy, I want, this is what I want. Tell Santa, this is what I want. Get this. And what it turned out to be, it's called the Betrayal at Cloud City Lego set, right? Okay. $350. Almost 2,900 pieces, and it's essentially a cross-section of Cloud City. So there's little scenes, there's it's quartered, so you got 4 pieces of a pie, and within each quarter there's little scenes. One is the full-on fucking Slave One, there's a cloud car, the carbon chamber room, the room where Chewie saved 3PO. So we've been building it all week long. I mean, I'd say 15 to 20 hour build, the most complex Lego build I've ever done. It's got working gears and shit and fucking platforms and bases and structures just to hold all the weight. So it was wild, but it was awesome to be doing it with my little daughter, 3.5 years old, engaged in big time Legos like that. Not that she could build it, but just sitting there with her. And watching her play with the minifigs on the playset. I mean, it's become a playset to her. She stages little scenes. And yesterday when I finished the carbon freezing chamber, she had all the minifigures lined around the circle watching Han go up and down. It's just like, I mean, that is where the true joy comes in of being a Star Wars super fan and also having a little one that is taking up the hobby. So that was just a really great way to spend a week of the Christmas break here with the kiddo.
Yeah, that's a super special. That's probably like one of those.
It's something. I mean, again, and I'm an
like,
asshole. I never wanted a kid, but now that I have one, I can't imagine not having one. And I cannot tell people that are like me and hate people and hate kids how great it is to have one that's yours, not someone else's, and not a fucking pet. It's not the same. Yours, and that you can share what you like to do and what they like to do together. There's really nothing better in the world. So that's how I'm closing out my memories of 2019 Star Wars style.
That's a touching moment. So, I mean, my final one is it's like relatively family related too. So my girlfriend had never seen any Star Wars movies before we started dating, and 2019 has been quite an experience for her. We saw all of the original trilogy at a drive-in
Oh boy,
theater
the propaganda has started.
Yeah, I know, right? So she's seen all of the Star Wars movies, excluding the prequels. We haven't watched the prequels. But we went and saw the original trilogy at a drive-in theater in Austin, and it was super fun experience to have. It was really cool to share that experience with her.
Was it back to back to back to back, or
No,
did you go like subsequent weekends or whatever?
Yeah, so it was different days. So we saw them in order, but it wasn't all like strung together in one, what would have been like a 9-hour long run.
So it's not like living with my kid that makes me watch them all day long.
Not quite. But being able to do that with her was really cool. And then she came with us to Celebration, and on the last day of the show, I went with her, so she was on the floor with me, and we just kind of walked around, took everything in, and it was really fun. So like being able to share Star Wars with people that we love is both Matt and to the.
As sappy as it sounds, there really is nothing better, and that's why Celebration is so much fun. Even if you look at pictures and you're one of these hard asses these days, you're like, these fucking pussy losers. Lemming sheep. I guarantee you, if you go to a Celebration, it'll be hard to wipe a smile off your face. It's one of the best parts of being a Star Wars fan. That's why Nick and I do what we do. I mean, do you guys think we get anything out of this outside of interacting with you all and each other? No one's fucking paying us a goddamn thing. That's why it's funny when people accuse us of being a shill.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck are you talking? A shill for what?
It's like, who are we shilling
shill
to?
For what? I'm trying to shill myself and Nick. I'm trying to shill the goddamn show, motherfuckers. I don't give a shit about Disney. Disney owns the world. They don't need lowlifes like me and Nick to shill anything. But it is. I mean, there's nothing better than just talking Star Wars with friends, family, or one day, you never know, Nick, your own little fans. So.
Little Jedi, yeah. So,
but let's round it out for the true fans, the ones really where we kind of called a lot of the fan base in 2019, and that is from the Instagram family, and we do love you out there, and like I said, the top fans out there, the loyalists, you know who you are. We appreciate you more than ever, and hope you stick with us and keep cheering on in 2020. But I'm gonna go ahead and let Nick take over for our Star Wars fan artist feature extravaganza 2019.
Yes. So the end of 2019, we're actually going to be running through 3 separate top number of the week-ish, breakdowns. The first one we're going to go through fast, and I'm sorry that we have to do this, but we are,
Yeah, you got the Christmas week pick, so you got fucked.
Yeah, so you did. So anybody who was on the 12-13 to 12-20 top 5, that was the week that we were out for Christmas. So unfortunately, we did not have a show dedicated to you guys, but I will run through all of the recipients.
No disrespect.
Yes, no disrespect here at all. All the recipients of the top 5. And I will say that the 2 of the photos in here are the top 2 likes that we've ever gotten. Both of them over 1,000. It's ridiculous.
The irony.
I know. I don't know what happened on December 19th because both of these images were shared on December 19th, but one of them has 1,091 and one of them has 1,029.
Oh my God, look at this. You got to be kidding me.
No. So
our first thousands of not that it's our work, but the fact our account exposed other people to this many people and we can't even talk about it.
I know. It's so messed up. So I'm going to run through and I'll call out who they are and what the shot is. And I'll call out the 2 in particular that got over 1,000 likes when we get there. So first up, we have Snapshot _5, the letter O, and then
this is
1.
a returning account. I mean, I think he kind of went dark for a bit, but he's back. And
yeah, I mean, it's a really crispy Anakin Skywalker shot from Rots. I mean, really good work here. You have the Sith eyes in there, the blue lightsaber. The pose was fantastic. So Snapshot _5, the letter O, 1. Fantastic. So this one here from Boba at Boba _FETE has 1,091 likes, the highest on our account. And this is a shot that is a representation of the end of TROS. It is,
And I'm pretty sure posted this before the movie, so this was just an idea he had.
yeah, I mean, we shared it on the 19th, and that's when the movie came out. So it's not like, this isn't based off of him seeing them, unless he lived in a different
fucking
country.
cannon in there, Kit.
Yeah,
Say teen. Okay, good.
I mean, dude, it's basically it's
great.
It's Jedi Rey holding the Skywalker.
It's kind of like when we broke down TROS, what we were hoping, or what I at least was hoping to see, maybe even if it was just Anakin and Obi or something like Luke.
Yeah, I mean,
it would have been cool to see the father and son fighting together with their go between Obi.
Yeah, so I mean, this shot has over 1,000 likes. And it's Rey with the blade, flanked by a bunch of Force Ghost Jedi. I mean, like Matt was mentioning, you got Obi, you got Yoda, you got Anakin, you got Mace, you got Kit Fisto in the back. Looks like you got Kanan off to the left. I mean, it's just jam-packed with Jedi. And it's a fantastic representation of the end of the movie without him even seeing it. So, fantastic word by @Boba_FETE on Instagram. The next one has 1,029 likes.
This is the greatest Star Wars portrait I've ever seen, hands down.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, this looks like a real human being. This looks like a picture of.
It's fucking Sebastian. Like, it is
like,
Sebastian Shaw.
It's just like. And this is from Last Toy Only, so LASTOYONLY on Instagram, and this is like an artistic. This is the highest form of art that I've seen in a portrait shot.
Black and white close-up portrait of a figure, and it looks like a real person.
It does. It looks like Sebastian Shaw from the end of ROTJ. So it is a maskless Darth Vader. 1,029 likes, and it is incredible. So Last Toy Only on Instagram. Next up, we have Will Strickland Photography with a really cool rendition of like a Black Ops soldier Darth Vader.
Yeah, it's like a COD Darth Vader.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Call of Duty Darth Vader. Excellent job there. We have, and then our last one for the Christmas break top 5 was a shot from @MUU.
Straight execution. I love watching toys fucking murder each other.
Yeah, so it's from @MUU_KWMR. So Moo KWMR on Instagram.
Yeah,
and it is a
really good pics there. It is a shame where we gotta skip over, but hey,
I know we gotta
time is of the essence, and
Nick
needs to start drinking.
So fantastic job there. So now we have our top 5.
Oh wow, this really is like this is up through today.
Yeah, so this is I said top 5 artists of the week-ish.
Look at this guy.
So I did 1220 to 1231 because if I would have done the week proper, we would have done 1220 to 1227, and then we would have had 1227 into like a weird
Yes, what
day.
we're saying, we're all fucked up. This is just where we're at. Here we go, top 5.
Yeah, so what we're doing here is we're going to start our next top 5 from 1/1.
We don't know when the weeks start or begin anymore at Star Wars time.
Exactly. So we are now. This is from 12/20 to the end of the year.
Well, I love it, man, because you got my boy right there, number 1.
Number 1, Super Scoundrel with the Baby Yoda. This is the
probably
one.
my. There's so many, but I think Super Scoundrel is one of my. He is my favorite new account find of the year, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, this guy is. Since we found Super Scoundrel,
he's finally getting some of the attention he deserves. For Christ's sake.
if you look at his account now, he's got over 5,000 likes. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he had like maybe 2,000 when the first time I featured, and then you got him on the top 5. And this isn't us saying, oh, we did this, not at all. But I like to think that we helped on his journey to finally getting the exposure this dude deserves. I think his name's Devin. I mean,
yes.
This guy's illustrations are just fucking beautiful. I mean, he's an Insta-share account. He's got a Gideon out there that I need to remember to share too. I mean, I just love this shit.
Yeah,
and this one of the baby chewing on the mythosaur. I mean, come on.
Yeah, this is the one as the tagline of the image. I mean, it's fantastic. If you've seen Super Scoundrel's work before, you know that this guy's just a killer, and everything that he puts
such
out
a defined style too. And I love artists that they're like this is my fucking style, and they just rock it every time. And
Yeah.
you can just pick them out of a lineup. I know every day when I'm scrolling, like, oop, there you go. Devin's got a new shot.
It's
Or new shot, new work of art.
Yeah, a new piece of art that he's created with his hands. I mean, this guy is an absolute.
It's insane. We've said it before. I mean, these people are fucking aliens or something.
It's a joy watching all his shots come across the feed. So, at super_scoundrel on Instagram. If you haven't followed him already, I don't know what the fuck you're waiting for.
Shame
like,
on
the
you.
Dude is a killer. So, next up we have another representation of Jedi Rey, flanked by her Jedi
Trevor's
companions.
such a master, dude.
He is. I mean, this is from 16shooter, at 16_shooter on Instagram.
And it's mixed scale too. So
Yeah.
Ray's Black Series, everyone else is 1/6 scale. So like the Barbies, the expensive shit.
I mean, and that's what makes this shot pop so much, because it is like the shot that we saw from Boba Fett was fantastic because it brought in such a breadth of Jedi. There's so many different Jedi there. And this shot just takes it to the next level, takes that concept that Boba Fett put out to the next level with, like you said, the scale. Like, she is flanked by these mythical figures, like these giants.
It's almost like Mount Rushmore of Jedi. I mean, I know there's more faces than we have on ours, but wouldn't you put some of these up on a Mount Rushmore of Jedi? I mean, it's Yoda, Luke, Mace, Anakin, Qui-Gon, and Ben.
Yeah, I mean, if there was,
I like how I call him Ben now. Like, that's his fucking name.
Yeah, it's Ben Kenobi. He's no longer Obi-Wan.
No, his name's Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I mean, it is like this. If you're talking about Star Wars films,
right,
then this is the Mount Rushmore. I mean, Mace can be argued, but he was a Grand Master. I mean, Yoda is one of the most influential Jedi of all time.
Yeah, Mace. I mean, he killed Jango Fett and then just mostly talked shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's
he just fucking hated Anakin's guts. Basically, that was his job.
Did not like Anakin at all. Like, I mean, wouldn't even let him go to the fucking. If he would have just let Anakin go to the throne room with him and Kit and the other guy, maybe. Maybe
we would have never got the Senate, right? I am the Senate.
I am.
He fucking like springs at him like he's some corkscrew.
Just fucking.
The other thing about this shot, dude, this is all in camera except for the lightsaber.
Wow, holy shit! I mean,
even the lighting like that. He did like light painting.
God, I mean, Trevor is he's a master. I mean, like this guy is
a true photographer artist. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The fact that he achieves this without Photoshop, and this is all done in frame, lens.
This is pure.
It's fucking crazy, dude.
Like,
I look at this, and I'm like, oh yeah, I learned how to use atmosphere aerosol this year, and then you got guys like Trevor, fog machine set up with mixed scale and light painting, and it's all in camera. And
yeah.
Hey, that's why we do what we do. Practice makes perfect, and I'm glad we have guys like 16shooter out there to look up to.
Yeah, so give him a follow on Instagram if you haven't already. He is one of the true masters of this toy photography form. Next up, we have Daz Tibbles with just the most precocious little Christmas baby Yoda. I mean,
Daz has been one of my favorite Star Wars fan artists for years. I mean, he predates Star Wars Time Show. I mean, I've been featuring his shit when I was doing Entertainment Buddha pretty hardcore. I mean, I've always loved, I believe his name's Darren Tibbles, Daz Tibbles on socials. This guy's style's insane. And Nick, I know I probably showed him to you. I don't know if you remember any of them, but if you watch some of his animations,
yes, I've seen
the concepts he had for Rogue One, and he just did a recent one with like a dark Luke. I mean, the guy's fucking style speaks to me on all levels. I would get this dude's work tattooed on my face.
Oh yeah, I mean, the dude is fantastic, and also he sent us. I'm pretty sure he sent us a nice Christmas DM on Instagram. So
yeah. I mean, he's just a great guy. This is another one, just like Super Scoundrel, where I go, man. it's insane the talent out there in the artist pool, and a lot of these people aren't working for Lucasfilm or Disney or whatever. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. So at Daz Tibbles, DazTibbles on Instagram.
Just
Again,
I mean, look at that. Look at
follow.
that. Like how it's like a washed out, scratched out on the Mando.
Yeah, and then
I mean, I want that Mando pose like on my back.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I feel like your tattoos. You need a hook up.
Well, there's
with,
that other one. What was that other one? It was another art. It was I think it was it was Baby Yoda sitting in the Mando's helmet as if it were the basket.
He also had another one where it was the armorer, and it was the mythosaur symbol, except it was all like burnt. It was all like searing hot metal color.
Yeah,
I mean, Darren is a killer. I mean, you could just scroll through his feed and find things that are just absolutely insane. Maybe you just need to message him back on our on the Star Wars Time IG and just be like, hey, I want to work with you on a tattoo piece. Like, just because I'm sure.
Yeah, how many millions of dollars do I owe you?
Yeah,
I know it's not millions, but I'm not kidding. When I look at shit like that, I go like, what? I mean, what do you pay someone?
I'm sure if you could work out a price, or if with him, I'm sure that he would be able to make, like, if you gave him an idea, just like the intern did with his tattoo at Star Wars Celebration. Like he had an idea, he told the artist ahead of time. He's like, I want a Vader skull, but like geometric. Like I want it like almost like stained glass.
It does look good because he came out for the Tross screening. I'm like, man, you motherfucker, that is a good tattoo.
It's sick. I mean, I saw that and I was like, holy hell,
goddamn intern, man.
But if you reached out to Daz Tibbles, I guarantee you guys could work something out.
If anything, I at least want like a wall-size canvas to hang in the headquarters.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So at Daz Tibbles is always a good follow and is always a good dude. So make sure to hit that follow button on his account. Next up, we have Triple P making his return.
Did you see the one I shared today from him?
I have to go back and look. I don't know.
I mean, you not that this one doesn't deserve to be here, but you'd probably be like, oh, fuck, I probably should have used this one because this guy, like the level of realism Papa P achieves these days.
Oh, wow, yeah, this Luke one.
The Luke, yeah. I mean, Luke's like just fucking blowing people over.
Yeah, I mean
he's like, ah!
I mean, it
But
does.
the shot at hand is a fucking a work of art too. I mean, the way he got that, I forget what they call that spider droid, or it's not the spider droid, but one of the walkers.
Yeah, like it was like kind of like a spider walker.
A droid walker, but my God.
I mean, it's fucking the way that Papa is able to make shit pop off the screen, and like you said, with just incredible realism in his shots. I mean, so what we see is 4 B1 battle droids, and then you got a droideka in the background with this spider walker, this Geonosian spider walker in the background. I mean, it's fantastic. Like the way that he was able to bring these characters to life, and the effects on the lasers that are being shot from the walker. I mean, it's just it's vintage Papa. I mean, and that's why he was probably one of the most featured artists this year in the top 5. I mean, Papa just makes shots like this.
I mean, he's up there with everything. Sir Dork. I mean, the other goats. I mean,
yeah,
he's an account where pretty much every shot you could be like, yep, that could be up there.
Yeah, and I mean, he also, I mean, if you follow Papa, you know that he does a ton of incredible mashup work. For some reason, his thing is he loves to mash up either Alien or Predator with Star Wars. Like that's like his 3 properties: Alien, Predator, and Star Wars.
I'm assuming he's probably a child of the 80s, so yeah, you're gonna like all that stuff. But I'm just gonna say, as a collector, the NECA has the license for Predator and Alien, and they actually make really great figures for cheap. So I'm assuming that's why we see a lot of that stuff.
Okay, so I mean, it's again like Papa Palpatine photography. Papa _Palpatine _photography on Instagram.
He's got an all silver Beskar armor Mando.
Really?
He's got like 13,000 likes. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
I mean,
it.
dude, yeah, he's just Papa's a killer, man. He's fucking lethal at this hobby.
It is, dude.
And half the shit is, I'm pretty sure he just goes out and he's got like a ditch in his backyard with a fucking rotted tree stump. and just, uses his imagination, sets them up, and floods it with some fog, and here we go.
Yeah, and they all come out pretty fucking sick.
Yeah, I mean, he does a lot of practical stuff, but I mean,
Yeah.
clearly he knows how to work the Photoshop too. That's something I'm still basically
learning.
completely inept at. Yeah.
All right, so the last one of the top 5.
That's fucking so cool.
Last one of the top 5. I love this. This is Plastic Action. Of course, we've had Plastic Action on here before, but it is Plastic Action is the best concept photographer I think that I've ever
He's
seen.
another one, like Nose Rain, Plastic Action. I
Nose Rain
mean,
too.
same level. The guys are just brilliant. I mean, work more or less. They're on the way these people think doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. So what we see,
but I
here,
like the way they think.
It's beautiful. Like we have Luke Skywalker, who's like fucking Air Jordan dunking, and what you have is 3 shots of Luke. So it's almost like a time lapse.
It's the eras of Luke. It's farm boy into Jedi into Jedi Master.
Yeah, and then in the background, kind of like hazy in the background, you have Grandmaster Yoda, you have Chewbacca, you have D-O at his feet, then you have Rey, BB-8, C-3PO, R2-D2, all watching Luke fucking sky dunk through the air.
And just, I mean, even Jax's original caption, The Rise of Skywalker, and it's so perfect.
It is. It's perfect, dude. I mean, this guy, Plastic Action, he
just
brings
look at the poses there, man, and how he cleaned it up and got rid of all the wires, and even just the net splashed up. I mean, look at that. Look at the details.
Yeah, I mean, the dude brings thunder every time he puts out a shot. I mean, he's really a fantastic photographer. So,
yeah, and I know he sells his prints. I mean, this is one I'm half tempted to pick up, but I'm literally out of wall space. I still got to get my Episode 9 movie poster because that's the last bit of wall space I have to complete the Age of Resistance trilogy. But man, I need some art now from all these people, like Plastic Action, Sir Doric, Daz Tibbles, Super Scoundrel.
I mean, this
everything
killers, everything Kylo, all of them. So that wraps up the top 5
It does, man.
through the end of the year. And we got one more thing that I put together for you guys. You could look at it as the 12 days of Christmas for Star Wars Instagram, for Star Wars Time Instagram artists.
I like that.
I just called it the top 12 IG artists of 2019. Basically what I did was we launched the Star Wars Time Top 5 in February. So we didn't exactly have 12 months of it, but what I did was I featured what I assumed to be one photo or one artist for every month of this year. And this is not the shot that I picked is not indicative of necessarily their best work, but these are all people that, like, when I scroll through our feed, I was like, oh wow, like this
these are ones that stood out. So these aren't necessarily people that have made the top 5,
I think,
or shots that made the top 5.
I think all of them have made the top 5.
Okay, yeah, because they look, some of them look familiar, and we're not going to go through and re-talk about them all because we've already done that. Please listen to our catalog of shows. We're on all the podcasting platforms.
But so I'll just kind of rattle off,
similar
to what I did for the first top 5 run through was. So we'll start with number 1 here. We have Lead Killa with the fantastic art piece, like traditional
straight up
piece.
comic book style art. I mean, that's the best way to say it, of Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian. I mean, it's epic.
I mean, and if you follow Lead Killa's account, this dude is just Ken Lashley. I mean, he's one of the best true comic book artists that we've ever featured in the top 5 or on our account ever. So I mean, this dude is a fantastic follow. Next up, we have another excellent traditional artist in Venomous. I mean, and this shot is from Tross. It is the shot where Kylo's walking through the water with his saber upside down. We featured this.
He's another one like Daz, dude, that I've followed Venomous for years. I mean, again, predates Star Wars Time Show. I think we're on his radar a bit now, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, that is really fucking cool. He's
been DMing in, and he likes when we give him a shout here or there. So his style it really is unlike anything I've ever seen. It's kind of it's like perfected chaos, sort of, where the subject is the subject's usually very clear, especially in the face. I mean, it's almost like an animation cell, but then the way he fleshes out the environment, it's almost like, literally this one, there's just paint splatter everywhere. But
Yeah,
it
I mean,
makes sense.
It does. I mean, like in context of the shot from the movie, I mean, this is like a perfect artistic rendition of that scene from Tross. So Venomous, again, like you can follow this guy and you can see, just killer art all over the place. And I mean, he's, a huge account, 68,000 followers. The fact that he, DMs us or, interacts with us in any way is an honor for us to be on his radar. So Venomous makes the 12 days of Star Wars time Christmas. Next up, this actually wasn't even a shot that I featured. This was one that you featured and that I found through your feature. And this is Mr. Stormtrooper Davis. This shot
I actually think this was from Sir Dork's failed episode, I believe. I'm never gonna let him live that down.
Yeah, this was one where I was out, but like this shot, Mr. Stormtrooper Davis was on our top 5 2 times, I believe. One from Sir Dork, one from me, and his account, he's got a good account. His skills are growing, but this shot in particular was just like.
It's Pisana. I mean, he's literally at the, I think it's Wadi Rim in Jordan. That's where they shot the Pisana scenes, straight up.
Yeah, I mean, so the fact that he was able to do this, I mean, it's just such a gripping shot. It's fantastic all around. And, being that this is, the end of the Skywalker saga, this was a perfect landscape Tross shot. I mean, it's beautiful. So I was like, man, this definitely squeaks its way into our top 12. Next up is one of the GOATs on the show. This is Everything Kylo, and I could have picked from a multitude of top 5 entries that Mr. Kylo had from the Star Wars Time show. But this one was just so cool because it perfectly encapsulates everything about Jesse's style. You have the chaos of the war. You have and it's a mashup shot. It's the DeLorean from Back to the Future.
This one was Mac Daddy, dude.
Yeah,
just the concept and the execution, the firework blasting. It is one of my favorite Everything Kylos. There's no doubt about it. You got the chicken walker back there, and just to perfectly place a crackling ball explosion, making it look like he took a shot at the DeLorean but just missed it.
Yeah, I mean it's vintage Everything Kylos, vintage Jesse artwork. I mean it's beautiful shots. So of course one of the GOATs makes the top 12. Next up, and this is an account that Matt found this year, like Phase Runner, and the artwork that he does is just incredible. Like this guy is a Photoshop master, and what he put together for his concept art, his concept posters for Tross this year were absolutely incredible. And this one that we see is the one where Kylo is ripping apart the Falcon with the Force. So Phase Runner, again, is just an absolutely excellent find.
I'm gonna go ahead and pat myself on the back for this find as well.
Oh yeah, I mean this was just
up there with Super Scoundrels, another fantastic one.
Yeah,
and we did sort of get a moment like this. I mean, this was a moment I knew was coming, but the way the intern reacted when Rey literally fucking starts pulling down the ship, it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean that is literally hearkening back to fucking Force Unleashed type of shit where Starkiller pulls down the Star Destroyer. So this fucking piece of art by Phase Runner is amazing. Like this is some shit that could be hung in any room in anybody's house and look incredible. So
there's a lot of fuckers stealing it though. So fuck
really?
You guys. Yeah.
Wow, that's fucked up. So yeah, no, the OG.
Actually, I called out. This is how big of a tool I am. I called out another Star Wars podcast on Instagram, I think from Haywood Pop.
Yeah.
Because they jacked one of Super Scoundrels picks and didn't give him credit.
Really? Wow.
Oh, yeah, so I write in the comments, I was like, hey, man, give the artist credit at Super Scoundrel.
That's so fun. See, Look, there's a lot.
I don't feel like a dick though, because that's fucked up, man.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
that is fucked up. That's not a dick thing to do. That's the right.
And
thing
they didn't
to
do it on. I mean, they're just like, oh, we figured it was official Lucasfilm art, so we didn't even bother looking. I was like, well, whatever. But
yeah, but here's the guy. Like, if you like his shit,
yeah.
give
So
him
you
some
know,
credit,
I
so.
know Devin at least came. He's like, hey man, thanks.
Yeah, and look, we never aim to steal images or steal artwork.
No,
from the
I
community
refuse
here.
to
Like,
share if I can't track down the artist. I
Yeah,
won't
so
do it.
that's all the time. That's what we do. Is
Excuse
we
me.
look
Man,
to
I'm just a fucking mess.
we look to give credit and honor those photographers or artists that make these things. So I mean, again, Phase Runner at @phase_runner out there on IG is a killer, well worth a follow. Next up for me is like Lego Star Wars Tong is the first person that made me realize that like you can make Lego Star Wars look just
with
super
those fucking sun
badass.
shots, man. I mean, the environment that guy lives in produces some of the most amazing sunsets I've ever seen.
Yeah, and the way that he's able to build these Legos and then make them look to scale as badass as they are, like this shot that we have is a sunset shot with 2 chicken walkers and AT-AT, and then you have some stormtroopers on dewbacks, and then you got 3 TIEs flying. I mean, it's a fantastic. It's just like this shot. I'd use this as my computer background. I'd have this as a piece of art hanging on my wall. Lego Star Wars Tong is a true master of the Lego art form. I mean, the guy is an absolute killer. Next up, this I feel like is the best piece of art that we have, like traditional art that we've ever featured. And this is from Marietta Art on Instagram. And I'm still at a loss for words. When I featured it the first time, both Matt and I were just like dumbfounded and we had no idea how to fucking like describe the shot, and I still don't, but it is an absolutely incredible
it's badass
interpretation.
I mean, it's the one with you got like this crazy ass shark faced scout trooper.
Yep.
As in the foreground, but in the background you got other scout troopers kicking Ewoks out of trees, and
yeah, just like the
it's just amazing. It looks like she's stopped making art and has just gone full on like cosplayer at this point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she does. She's got like her own,
but she's hardcore. She's got a shock trooper.
Yeah, I mean, like the outfits that she has are really fucking cool.
Oh yeah, it looks like she's been at like concerts and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, but
either way, badass artist. I'm sure she'll get back on it, but clearly a huge Star Wars fan, big time cosplayer.
Yeah,
but that art piece is just fucking pimp.
Yeah, it's insane. So, next up in the yearly 12,
of course,
is Papa. I mean, this is one of the earlier shots that we shared from Papa, but I feel like this shot just perfectly encapsulates what he's all about. Like he's all about the destruction and the visceral nature of Star Wars, and this is a shot of Darth Maul and Darth Vader fighting, where clearly Darth Vader is about to impale Maul with a lightsaber. I mean, just everything about this shot was really fucking cool the day that we featured it, from the pose that he's able to get Maul on to the way that he's got the lightsabers positioned, both pulling Maul's lightsaber away from him and then also sending up Vader's lightsaber to stab through Maul's head. I mean, like, it's great. It's great. So Papa Palpatine, we mentioned him in the last top 5. Dude's a killer, and he always has been. So make sure to give him a follow. Next up is, of course, our other GOAT of the Star Wars Time Show. This is Sir Dork. I think this is the first ever shot that we featured in a top 5 from Sir Dork. And I mean, it's vintage Sir Dork, and you have explosions off in the side. You have water splashing up from one side, and you have these troopers that are all getting just fucking wrecked here.
I love the tone of it. I like how the lighting's kind of muted, so you're getting that orange glow on the guys, and then obviously he layered in the splashes. So
yeah, I mean, Sir Dork.
It's always good for explosions and particles of any substance.
Yeah, I mean, Sir Dork is a good friend of the show, and I appreciate.
Did you get
greatly.
Was your picture the stormtrooper guy surf sledding?
Yes, he was skiing.
Yeah,
the skiing stormtrooper. I put it on my personal Instagram story with like a dashing through the snow. I put it as the caption on it, so it was really cool. That was one of the shots that he recently put up, so he made it into his Christmas card. It was really, really awesome. So I mean, Sir Dork is, if you don't know who Sir Dork is in Star Wars.
I mean, shit, he's like as close as a Star Wars time friend as it gets. I mean, he's been on the show, well,
twice.
Was going to be on the show 3 times, but him and I kind of had our own show for almost 2 hours together. But no, Jared's
he's a
good
dude.
guy. I love watching his stuff on YouTube. So if you're into toy photography and just kind of learning it from a maverick, a rebel, check him out at Sir Dork 730.
Yes. Next up, we have 1/6 shooter with this absolutely fantastic Sith Trooper shot that he released, I think, the day that these came out, right? Like
he got one. I actually have one now. He got it at SDCC.
Yeah,
when you can get them early.
We've talked about Trevor a lot on the show. 1/6 has been on the top 5 multiple times, but like this shot is just, it was a really fucking fantastic representation of what we could have seen in Tross and what the Sith Trooper is. I mean, like, it is a really beautiful figure, and he really captured it well in this.
Well, and as expected, they did jack shit.
Yeah, they died pretty quickly in the movie.
They're good at flying up in the air when Jaina throws fucking grenades at them.
Yeah, that's about it. But 1/6 is a fantastic account. Again, just make sure to give him a follow. So next up, we have Super Scoundrel again with a...
Yeah, this is the shot those guys jacked, by the way.
Really? The Sith Trooper one?
Yeah, they're like, well, we thought it was from Lucasfilm. I was like, well, yeah, look how fucking awesome it is.
Yeah, it's like, there's a lot of fantastic art out there from people who should or could be working for Lucasfilm, and Super Scoundrel's one of those guys.
This shot, like, I just want to rub it on my face for some reason. I don't know why.
It's fucking beautiful. So the Sith Trooper rendition with Super Scoundrel's signature style is just beautiful. So yeah, I love it. And then the last one of the 12 was actually one of the first top 5s. Actually, this shot was in the first top 5 that we ever put out, and this is from Sergeant Bananas. And it's just the Sleeping
Makes sense
Yoda.
considering he's like the godfather of toy photography, so
yeah,
makes sense.
Sleeping Yoda from Sergeant Bananas makes our top 5.
Look at the little
really
guy.
Beautiful.
That's a nice little way to end it out there, Nick. So
yeah, absolutely.
Hell of a segment there on our fan base and the Star Wars fan artist community. Definitely, like we said during our recap of the year, that's probably our favorite part of doing this stuff are the top 5 moments, and then just doing the weekly stuff on IG. So keep at it, my friends. Anything you want to say to close out the year, Nick, or have you said your piece?
I mean, it's been a really fun year for both Matt and I know that there's like a lot of, we've both been through a lot of changes in 2019. I'm hoping that 2020 is a bit more stable for me. This year was a bit chaotic, but I am glad to have the Star Wars Time show bros that go every week and create good content, and I'm glad that we have as many fans and followers as we do. So I'm appreciative for all of you guys out there who listen, who interact, who use the hashtag and everything like that. So thank you all for
the Greg
listening.
Birds of the world, we need you.
Yes.
The Rust Belt collectors, we need you.
Barron's Black
Please,
Series.
Barron's Black Series. Like I said, everyone knows who they are. Super Scoundrel. Those of you that chat with us, Andy Space has kind of become one of a new one that's always tagging, and we see it. Trust me, we're fans just like the rest of you. That's why we do what we do, and that's why when you interact, it kind of charges us up and keeps us going to provide free content on a weekly basis, multiple times a day. You know what I mean? And you know how you guys can keep on top of that stuff? StarWarsTime.net. Right, Greg? StarWarsTime.net. Don't send me an article from MovieWeb when I posted it on StarWarsTime.net already. I'm just kidding, buddy. I'm just messing with you. I love you. No, but seriously, if you're just listening for the first time, or if you forget, because life can get hectic. StarWarsTime.net, daily basis. There will be some content out there. If there's not new content, you can look for old content. If anything, you can find all of our social links there, our YouTube link, and you can get your asses subscribed to the podcasting platform of your choice. We have a wide selection It's like a Baskin Robbins, if you will, of podcasting platforms. And we need you. We don't ask for the money, so that's how you help us, by becoming subscribers and commenting and liking and rating and reviewing. Whatever you got to do that dance, because it helps out the Star Wars Time bros. And remember, if you listen to the Star Wars Time show, the Force will be with you always.